Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Once again, this is after a week of vlogs, so it's always nice to, sit down in front of you guys and just talk one-on-one or one in the 10 views I have. So this week I wanted to talk about growing up as an Afro-Latina. It's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and it's something I'm really passionate about, and it's something I've always been trying to bring awareness to, so I figured let's make a YouTube video about it. Yay! Where do we begin? Okay, so I'm trying to process what age I realized that I was different in terms of the way I looked, what I thought my identity was, and how the world viewed my identity. I think it was, so all of middle school was kind of, wasn't something I was concerned about. I noticed the girls who were lighter than me and who had longer hair than me and had different texture than me, and I realized that, that might have been a trait that was more attractive for some reason or more valued. And I can think of moments I was bullied in elementary school as well. Like, guys would make jokes, little boys would make jokes about like my hair and stuff. But it kind of just went over my head, but not really. And then it wasn't until I think middle school that I started to realize, okay, like 6th, 7th grade, like, people don't really know what to think about me. Like, I would talk Spanish on the phone with my mom and people would like stare a lot and they would be very, very confused, and they would ask like, how do you know Spanish? And it's just like, oh, I guess it's not a normal thing. And like the other side of the spectrum, it would be if I was surrounded by many Hispanic people, I would get weird looks and it would just be like, is she Hispanic? Like, for some reason, it was always weird. And it still is to this day. That's when I started to realize, oh, like, not many people are used to seeing this, and they don't know how to react to it. And at first, it was something that I was really confused about, and then eventually I realized that, sadly, I feel like it was the only thing that made me interesting. It's so sad to say, but like, growing up, I quickly realized that having darker skin wasn't something that would be a benefit to me. Like, it made things much worse. And I think subconsciously and within me, I tried to find ways to run from that and hide from that. Any chance I had in my community, if I could speak Spanish, I would do it in that moment so that people saw me differently, so that they wouldn't just assume. And there are many moments, there are moments when people, like, someone's talking Spanish about you or something, and then you like can respond back, or you hear, like, I've had moments like that before. So that's always fun. But yeah, so when I was younger, it was something that I was like, oh, this is the only thing that makes me interesting, so I have to do it all the time. I just have to talk Spanish everywhere, especially in the Bronx. It's primarily Spanish speaking people who live here. So I thought, let me just do this to fit in. Even though I grew up, Spanish was my first language and English was my second. I don't remember this, but someone, these triplets I knew in elementary school ran into my father like a year ago, and they were like, how's Reina? And my dad called me and I spoke to them, and they're like, oh my gosh, you sound so different. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, oh my gosh, in elementary school you had a really strong accent. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you have like such a Spanish accent. And I cannot remember this. Like, I don't remember this at all. But I have footage that I actually seen, and I'm like, oh, I did have an accent. When I was younger, I had a Spanish accent, and then growing up, I think going into middle school, I was bullied a lot because I sounded white. And so a lot of people were like, oh, you sound like a white girl. And I'm like, there's no winning. In general, I never really fit in any of my environments. Didn't fit in with the Latino community, didn't fit in with the Black community, didn't fit in with the Bronx community, because I was always interested in things that was not popular growing up. I just liked weird music, weird bands. I feel like I just had that energy where like my mind was always in the clouds and dreaming about, things that many people just aren't concerned with that at a young age in the Bronx. You're concerned about bad things. But yeah, so it was really interesting, and I always felt weird, and I'm still weird, but it was just a lot topped onto me, and I'm like, who am I then? Like, am I who my friends or kids at school say I am? Am I who my community says I am? Am I who TV says I am? Just all these things. It wasn't until high school that I kind of came into who I am. In high school, I realized, oh, there is such thing as being Afro-Latina. What? Like, the concept, for some reason, of being both from an African bloodline and also being Latina, just never a thing until I realized it in high school. And it wasn't that I needed to be labeled as something, but it was kind of, I was finally able to identify as, I finally felt like I fit in. And so high school, I remember my college essay was about being Afro-Latina and just the struggles of that, and how eventually I came to love my features and to really love myself, which is always still a journey every single day. But it was so motivating. And my junior year of high school, I started my own dance company called Afro-Latinx, and I want to tell you the story really quickly. It's a long story, but I can make it short. I left school one day, can't remember what day, maybe it was cold, maybe it was like winter, and I was waiting for the train, and then suddenly this like man just came up to me and started like talking to me. And usually in New York City you avoid it, but he seemed pretty sane. And so we're talking, and then he lets me know that he's a part of the Black Panther Party and all these things. And you know, it's just a black man talking to a young black woman, and he's trying to just talk to me. He's like, what do you want to do in life? You know, and I was like, oh, I want to dance, my dance. He was like, oh no. I was like, what? He was like, we need more black doctors, we need more black lawyers. And I was like, I completely understand, like, yes, I agree, but for like my journey in my life and what I want to do in my life, like, I think I can really make a big impact through the performing arts industry, as being a black woman, as being Afro-Latina. And he was still trying to convince me, and I was like, bro, like, it's no way I'm gonna be a doctor. But I mean, I wanted to be, but like, that's just not the path I want to go down to. But I expressed to him that, oh, like, I want to eventually do my own Afro-Latin dance company. Like, I had the idea already. I was just like, I'm gonna wait till I'm 35, you know, to start this company. And he was like, why not start it now? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like 16, 17 years old. He was like, start it right now. And this man proceeded to, on the train, ask a bunch of strangers, hey, if you had to invest in me or invest in this young lady right now, who would you invest in? And everyone was like, her. I would invest in her. And he just really encouraged me to like not wait till a certain age to, you know, do something that would be impactful for the world. After that, I like walked out of the train, I left home, and I'm gonna start my dance company right now. Like, why not? You know, like, nothing's holding me back. I don't have to be a certain age, you know, to do something. And so I think that whole like week, I was just like planning with my friends. I was like, what should I name it? How should I start it? What should I do? So for some reason, I was really excited about getting a business card. And so I got a business card. I'm gonna show you right now. This is a business card I made in high school. It's so cute. Afro-Latinx. On the back, it says Las Reinas Afro-Latinx Dance Company. It has my name, my phone number, my email for the company, and the email's my company's Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, I literally don't know how I got the money for this. Probably just asked my dad for his card, but so cute, and I can still use it today because, I mean, why not? But I don't know if people do business cards anymore. I don't even know if anyone in the industry does business cards, but you're good, got them. So yeah, I don't know. I got a business card, and I came up with a name. I started a social media account. I reached out to places I could perform in the community. I reached out to friends who might have wanted to be in the company just to do certain performances. And I did a couple performances in the Bronx, and it was so nice and it was so exciting. I taught classes the whole summer before college. I like researched all these things about different Afro-Latinos all over the world. I mean, they are everywhere. We are literally everywhere. And so it was just about, you know, proving that we need and deserve representation in the industry. And we have been here for a while. It's just that people just don't know about. I researched a bunch of doctors, artists, lawyers, political people who are Afro-Latino who made huge impacts on the world. and that I didn't know about, and that I will teach other people about it through my social media of my company. And so it's really exciting, and it's still a journey that I'm working on now. I haven't performed with my dance company for a while. I think my last performance was 2 years ago. So sad. But definitely it's something that I still want to continue to use. I still want to perform with my dance company. I still want to reach out to people. I still want to help educate. Yeah, growing up Afro-Latina was not easy, and there are still, I mean, I remember the other day there was a whole argument around social media about Gina Rodriguez and like all these women who might identify as Afro-Latina but are on the really, really light side of the spectrum, so they still benefit a lot, and others would say that they're not Afro-Latina. And you still, I mean, now that being Afro-Latino is like people are talking about it more, we get, like there's a lot of backlash from the Black community, also a lot of backlash from the Latin community. It's like, it's very overwhelming. And so it's just proof that we're still in a day and age where it's something that is new and that not many people know how to feel about. And so some people really embrace it and some people are still really against it. But that's just the state of how our world is going right now for some reason. I mean, I do think that this is something that should be talked about. We should still be having this conversation. And it makes sense that people have questions. It makes sense that people are like wondering, like, what does this mean? Like, a Latino person can say, I mean, no one should say the N-word, but like, these are just the things that come up. Like, a lot of people feel that darker skinned or Latinos who identify as Afro-Latino can't say certain words. And also the Latin community doesn't want to accept, you know, that there are people who are darker. It's just a whole mess. And now that I think about it, like I was trying to process that at such a young age, and it's still difficult now. If there's anything I would say I would want and look forward to in the future is that, you know, this conversation is something that is more spoken about, that is embraced, that we can actually talk about it not only behind closed doors. Afro-Latinos have stories, just like many people have stories, and they deserve to be told. And I think it's a story that is not told about enough or at all. I think about West Side Story and how there should be a lot of dark characters in that show. But, you know, the one character who I think that I'm only allowed to play, I think that the only one that exists is Anita. And she's always played by light-skinned Latinas. And it's really frustrating for me because it's even written in the show that she's darker than everyone else. So it literally makes no sense when the Anita is light. And it's just like, I'm pretty sure it's the only musical role in all of musical theater for an Afro-Latina, and no one ever books one. And I know the movie's coming out, and then Ariana something last name, I'm getting it wrong. I know she's Afro-Latina, which is great, and she's able to portray that. But it should have happened a long time ago, and it should be a rule that only Afro-Latinas play that role. But I mean, I don't know. Who am I? But so happy and so glad that like younger Reina finally doesn't feel lost and doesn't feel like she doesn't fit in, because conversations are happening. And I just hope that I can be a part of making a world that is more welcoming and is more loving and is more embracing of all the different people who live in this world. So before I became a devoted Christian, my identity was very much so in anything that I can grasp onto. Although I'm always going to be vocal about being Afro-Latina, I think finding Christ and finding my identity in Christ, it has really shifted every part of my life. And I no longer feel like I have to grasp and hold on to all these other identities, because it doesn't compare. And I have a great foundation in Christ that no matter what the world says about, you know, me being Afro-Latina, whether they accept me or not, whether it's something that I feel that I don't have enough representation, that I know within myself that I'm secure. It's still gonna be something that I fight for. You know, it's still something I'm gonna be very vocal about. But in terms of my personal journey, Christ has really made it complete, has made me complete. And that's something that I can hold on to and forever stand on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely comment below if if anything sparked your interest and you're like, oh, I saw this or something like that. I want to start conversation. So comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Be a part of the conversation. Love you guys.